Namaskar. I am Dr. Vibha Doshi and I hail from the land of India. Amchi, Mumbai, obviously. I mean, I know everybody has heard about Mumbai a lot, and I am a dhol player in Jallosh Dhol Tasha Pathak, and we practice and we play in New Jersey and New York, and every Sunday we have our practice sessions. Ale, ती ते बोलतच नव्हते आणि मी पण ते बोलत नव्हती. Pause. And New Jersey, New York, and also we try to cover some other parts nearby. And the funds that are collected, the donation that we put forward that amount for a noble cause in India for kids who needs education and all. So basically, this is a way of me contributing to the society, to the community in my own ways. I mean, the way I could with my passion and with my love for music. So I feel blessed to be a part of this Pathak here and also in India. I was a part of Dhol Tasha Pathak in my area. So before coming to USA, New Jersey, I already played in one of the Pathaks in Malad called Ranzunzar, and the music and the beats, they, I don't know, I mean, like, I just can't explain in words. They make me so happy, and they kind of charge me up. They make me realize of the love for music that I have. And this, I would say, the love for music runs in my blood because my grandfather, Vinayak Kharkar, he was guru to Zakir Hussain, the tabla player. I mean, he's very famous in India. He also does shows here in New Jersey and New York. So he was his guru. So the tabla, from childhood, I have been hearing tabla and these dhol beats in my house. My father playing, my uncle playing, my cousins playing. That somehow got into me. I don't know why, but I couldn't learn tabla. I tried, but maybe I was injured or the fingers were not developed at that time, so the doctor said no. But yeah, I mean, at this age, I think that now it's time for me to show my love for music. So it's been like almost 5 years now. I have been a part of Jallosh Dhol Tasha Pathak, and I'm playing dhol every year for all the events that I can possibly be there. And for FIA parade, that is India Day parade in New York, it's been like my 4th year now this year, and I'm really excited and looking forward to it. And Mumbai is something, is an emotion to me. I mean, the land that I come from, you have so much to, I have so much to talk about Mumbai. I don't know where to start from. And it's my home. It's my home. It's an emotion. The people there, the food culture, the places. I mean, it's a city that never sleeps. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the night, you just go, you'll find all people on the road and cars and everything. It's always happy in the city. And Dhol Tasha actually comes from Maharashtra, the state in India. It started in Maharashtra, and now it's like it's in all the states. Now it's diversity in India, so it doesn't really matter where it has come from. But yeah, I mean, for occasions like Ganpati, Gudi Padwa, that is a New Year in Marathi culture. So such occasions, whether it be South India or North India or East or West, Dhol Tasha has always been a part of all the cultures now, and it's growing. And it's really happy to know, I am really happy to know, and it's really good to know that young blood, especially youth, is coming forward for this passion, this culture, where even in India, the funds that are collected after playing Dhol Tasha is all donation. So the young blood or the people, they do not look it as a earning factor. In fact, that is also noble because they are contributing to the community indirectly or directly in their own way by playing dhol and by collecting the donation and then putting it forward to um, school or maybe any organizations, needy organizations who are really in need of those money. So that's a very beautiful thing about it. So in this way the culture grows, the youth also gets to contribute towards the society, and it's wonderful. I mean, so I am a physical therapist by profession. So in India, I used to practice. After I got pregnant with my son, I took a break, and that time there were like all the like for 1-2 years I did not work. So there was like a break, and I used to make my son familiar with all the cultures and all the festivals that we have in India. And every time the Dhol Nasha was always a part of it. So since he was a child, he has been looking to all the performances and others performing it. And one day he was like, "Mama, why don't you try it? Why don't you play it? You would look so beautiful in that sari and that nose ring and all the attire, you know. I would love to see you in that." He was a big push to me. He was my biggest supporter. His words were like, okay, now this is the time where I get to live my passion also. And that's when I thought of going to one of the pathaks there in India. I inquired about it. They welcomed me with open arms. They were like, you can come anytime you want and join the practice sessions. So I just went and I learned about it. They polished me so much. They took real efforts towards me, you know, with all the gestures and the movements and the steps that we do. So they were very supportive, and my son used to accompany me during the practice sessions. He used to sit one side and he's like, "Mama, you're doing great. Mama, you're doing so good." And that was like, you know, you see, you support as well as the biggest fan. Your son is your biggest fan, and that encourages. That is nothing, I mean, like compared to anybody else. You know, your son is your biggest fan and supporter. And obviously, my husband Siddhin, he has always been so supportive. He's like, "Tujhe jo karna hai kar, go ahead. You know, you follow your passion." And he, even in the house, when we scroll Instagram sometimes or we see other pathaks playing videos, he's like, "You should try this, you know, your pathak should try this." And he's always been supportive, kind of, you know, helping me to get new tals or new variations that we could, you know, keep improvising in our pathak. So he's been a great support too. But I would really like to mention my son Sparsh. He's always like cheering. Even in the FIA parade, he would walk you know, close to me, but a little, you know, at a distance. He was like, "Yo, Mama, come on, go, you know, you're doing good." And I was like, oh my God, for him, yes, I have to. So that's how like it all started. And then in 2018, we moved to USA. In 2018, we moved to USA, and then when I came here, I wasn't aware of Jallosh. But yes, I was like, oh, I have to continue with my passion. And then I just Googled, and I had 2-3 community friends, and I asked them, and they were like, "Yes, we do have a pathak here." And I was like, "Oh, nothing great than that, you know." So I got in touch with the leads here, and they were like, "Yes, of course, you can come and join anytime. It's open to all." So I joined in 2018 itself, like the second month after I landed. And then from 2018 till now, it's like 6th year now in Jallosh. I have been a part of Jallosh, and it's been a beautiful journey. So this is the sari that we wear for our Dhol Tasha practice, for the events. And this is called a Nawari sari with a 9-yard sari with a different styling. So it kind of looks like dhoti pants, but it is actually a sari. It's a 9-yard long sari, and we drape it in a way that where it looks, the final look of it is like this. So right now what I have is a different style sari. So there are many different types of sari that you can make. You can make Brahmini, you can make Shahi Mastani, you can make Devsena style. What I have made is my personal sari is half and half, wherein this part of it is a different cloth that I bought, and this part of sari is the 6-yard sari, not a normal Nawari sari. So I've mixed the two saris and I've made my own sari. And this border behind is called the kashta, which is the most important part of Nawari sari. So this goes at the back. So this is how you wear it. And then this pallu, it comes here on the shoulders. So this is how it looks, like the final look. But any Nawari sari cannot be complete without its jewelry, you know. So the jewelry that we wear for on this sari is a special kind of jewelry and not the regular one. So the nose rings, the bindi and everything is different. It's more of a Maharashtrian style. So this is basically the nose ring that we wear. You can see it is very different from the normal nose rings that we wear. So basically it is also made up of pearls mostly, and they come in different shapes now, but this is the classic one. So we wear it like this. So the look is, you know, very different that you get from this nose pins. This is the most favorite part of all the jewelries that I have in Nawari. My most favorite part personally. I have a huge collection of nuts for Nawari, like almost all the colors that I could possibly get. This and the bindi, that's the half moon bindi, that itself completes the look, I mean, on the face. Then there are other things that we have, like toe rings, earrings. We also have this special thing called bugdi, which we wear it here, up, not down, the up thingy. So this is one of the classic ornament that we wear on Nawari. I'll just wear and show it to you guys. Here, on the top. So the earrings down and this goes here. So this also I have like a huge collection of all the possible colors, green, pink, white and different shapes, you know. So these are called kadas. This you can wear it on either side or in between anywhere. But yeah, this pearl thingy that kind of completes the look for the bangles. This is the payal that we wear, anklet kind of thing that we wear on the ankle. This is thushi, which is kind of a choker that we wear here on the neck. This is the, again, one more classic ornament for this attire. So this again comes in different styles. It could be all pearls, it could be all golden. This is how it looks. So this one piece and you're sorted, you know, it's also good. This is half moon that we wear here.
What is the half moon?
So this is basically half moon bindi that we say. It's also called as Chandrakor. So this is like the most important thing on any Nawari sari. So it goes like here. So this and the nut, that completes the facial look, you know, of on a Nawari. Gazra, this is called Gazra, which basically goes on your hair. So we have to tie a bun, and once we tie a bun, we have to put this around, and then this whole thing comes around. So it completes the bun look, you know, the hair look. Obviously, the bun, it depends, I mean, like women to women, some tie it high up, some tie it low. Usually in India, we get this made up of fresh flowers. Here in New Jersey or in USA, it's really difficult to find one. So this is the artificial one that I got from India. This is another neck piece that we have. I got all this jewelry from India. Everything is from India. So whenever I go to India, my first thing on list is shopping. This is basically the blouse of the sari that we wear, and I have got it a little designed by putting the pile that we get in India on its sleeves. And I have made the back pattern with a waistband, which is called as kamar patta in India. So with the kamar patta, I have stitched it at the back of the blouse to give it a heavy look. So when you wear this, the whole piece of jewelry comes on the back. So it gives a very elegant look. तुमची एक बीट मिस होते.
परत घे.
धक 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 धक
शेवटचा ना
धक धक.
आय थिंक वी करेक्ट.
ओके. काय होतं?
It has to be on. This is how the rhythm is. घे परत घे. धिंता धिन ता ता धिन. तुमचं थोडंसं आधी येतं. तुमचं आधीच आहे. What I am playing is the perfect. तुमचं थोडंसं
मग आम्ही लेट होतो.
तुमचा मायक्रोसेकंड थोडासा आधी येतो.
हा. आमचे बरोबर वाजतात. सगळ्यांचं बरोबर वाजतं. हा.
1 2 3 लक्ष ठेव ना. 1 2 3.
पण आता अरे आम्ही बरोबर नाही.
तो इकडे एक
थोडासा
सगळ्यात होणार आहे.
हा मी थापीचं बोलतोय.
तीनदा वाजवली का ताल तोच आहे असं म्हणतोय मी.
पटकन सांगतोस. थँक्यू फॉर सपोर्टिंग. थँक्यू फॉर सपोर्टिंग.
सगळ्यांचं बरोबर आहे. तुम्ही जे दोन वाजवताय ना ते त्या तीनच्या याच्यात दोन आहे.
ओके.
12 years ago, we started this group, mostly made of all the professionals who came from India to the US. We belong to the central part of India. The state is called Maharashtra. These instruments belong to that area mostly. What it means actually, it represents the power. So especially when people used, so in the like historical period, not so long ago, people used to fight with the swords. So they need power, the power, sheer power. And to boost that power amongst all the soldiers, these kind of instruments used to be played. And then it actually became a symbol of all the enthusiasm, power, all mixed up together. So that's what these instruments represent. This we have to do outdoors. You can hear the sound of it. It's very loud, so we cannot do this, inside any of the buildings. So typically we do this in summer. So as the temperatures work in New Jersey area, we start our practice. So we practice every week, mostly on Saturday or Sunday, depending on mostly rain or if there are any events, we change those dates. But typically it's Saturday or Sunday every week. So typically we start in around end of May or so, and then we go until end of September. But mostly starting from August to September, we participate in a lot of community events. So if you have heard of Lord Ganesh, that's a big festival in central part of India, but not only central, all over India. And to celebrate that Ganesh festival, we play this set of instruments with lot of people, lot of noise, and lot of that enthusiasm and power. That's the representation, and that's why we basically participate in even those Ganesh festival in New Jersey, New York area. It actually belongs to our culture, and even though we came here, we don't forget our roots. And all these, beats of this music, the patterns of this music, they remind us of our culture a lot. And that's why we got them here. Even that's one of the reasons the parent organization of this group, the group name is Jallosh, the parent organization is called Indian Roots. And that exactly represents why we brought that in the US. So I'll have to tell a little bit about this group. So this is not a band. All these people you see here who are practicing or in the events who are playing all these instruments, they are all professionals. They are doctors, they are engineers, they are software consultants, they are directors, they are owners of their own business. They do this to basically preserve their culture or to relive that culture again. So this is all voluntary organization. But we don't just play music. All the people, they come here to play the music, they also have that cultural relationship with India, right? So we play these instruments, we gather donations, and that donation starts from us. So when every member participates in this group, there is what we call a membership donation. That's what the start. So charity begins at home, and then we also solicit other donations. Every penny of this donation goes to education of children who actually need education in India, mostly tribal or rural children in India. And that's what the format of this group is.
Okay, last question. Tell me about the Guinness record, the one you received last year.
So there were 2 records which were made. Most doles or percussion instruments played outside that's one of the Guinness Book of World Record. And the second was total number of flags or maximum number of flags holding on the ground. So those were 2. But we were related to that Guinness Book of World Record because of that percussion instrument. So that percussion instrument, there are several percussion instruments. Dole is the biggest format of it. The smallest format called damru. And the damru is literally, you can hold it in your one hand. And that's small. But all are in the same family and all actually represents that enthusiasm and power. Oh, she is one of our star players, I would say. As I said, it's the manifestation of enthusiasm and the power. With Vibha, if you see her playing, you see both. And that's the beauty of it. It's not about how she plays, how well she plays. It's basically what it actually represents and how she basically, expresses that. So it's the expression of that power and that music. That's what we see in Vibha's performance, basically.
basically this instrument, musical instrument, is called dhol, and the one there is called tasha. So it's like a combination of both of them together. It makes the dhol tasha music. I mean the tals and the tunes that we play. These are not the only two instruments that is a part of the dhol tasha pathak. There are jhans, then there is tol. There are legim teams. We have legim teams. We have dhwaj, that is flags. So all these teams together make a pathak, but the main, you can say the star of dhol tasha pathak is basically the dhol and the tasha. So in this dhol we have this drum. This is aluminium drum which is hollow from inside, and there are these two, we call it pan, leaf. Okay, so this is the one side and this is the other side. So one side we play or we beat it using a tipru, which is a long wooden stick. So one side of it is played with the use of stick, and the other side is simply for the hands, that is called thapi. So one hand will always go on the other side of the pan, whereas one hand here will always have a stick to play. So that's how the beat, the combination of both the hands simultaneously gives us the tal or the beat. And with this accompanying the tasha, that goes differently. It is played with only two sticks. That sticks could be wooden sticks, could be plastic sticks, anything. I mean, like player to player it differs. So basically with that sticks it plays. Sound of both are totally different. That is very crisp. This gives a very overall sound, you know, a big loud overall sound, but that is very crisp. So combination of that and this will give you any tune. So we have to set that tunes according to the countings. So for example, 4 beats of tasha, then 4 beats of dhol, then in combination 8 beats. So that's how a tune or a tal is decided. I would say if you have that passion in you, nothing is difficult. The most critical or a little bit of discomfort is when you tie dhol, and especially if you have back problems or if you have any lumbar curvature or anything, then it's a bit difficult to carry dhol for a longer period of time. But in FI parade we carry dhol for approximately 5 to 6 hours at a stretch, walking down all the blocks till the end. And it's so hot, like till now all the FI parades that we have attended, it's very hot summery day. So sweat plus the attire, then carrying this, tying this, and then continuously beating it. I mean, by the end of the day, we're all exhausted and all under fatigue. We literally get marks here with this rope. So there are all marks after the dhol is untied. Right now also, I mean, after the practice, we all have these marks on the back.
How much does it weigh?
It differs. There are different sizes in dhol. So in our pathak, what we got from India is we got 5 different sizes. So A, starting from A is the biggest one and E is the smallest one. So weighing the weight of each of it is going to be different, but the heaviest is A and E is like smallest. So this must be somewhere around 10 to 12 pounds.
Which one is this?
This is D. This is size D. Second smallest.
या गणपती बाप्पा
गुदगुल्या करतो म्हणजे मागं जातो.
स्माईल दे रे स्माईल.
आम्ही जल्लोषकर दिसतंय का हाताने झाकलं गेलंय
अरे पुढच्या कॅमेरासाठी तरी स्माइल द्या.
स्माईल.
तासाच्या लिफ्टकडे बघतोय.
मी तयार आहे. ताशावरती आणि टोलवरती लक्ष. जेव्हा बीट्स फास्ट होतात तेव्हा यू हॅव टू